All right, let's dive in. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, primal human experiences fear. We're going to break down how it works, how it can sometimes take over our lives, and, this is the most important part, how we can actually start to rewire our own brains to create a whole new reality. But let me just start with a question, and it's a big one that's going to frame everything we talk about today. Is the fear you feel just, an emotion that comes and goes? Or has it become something more? Something your body has actually gotten, well, addicted to? It's a challenging idea, I know, but it is absolutely central to understanding how to break free. So, to really unpack that idea, we've got to go back to the beginning. We need to understand what fear really is. It's not some kind of personal weakness or a character flaw. At its core, fear is a survival program, one that's been hardwired into our biology for millions of years. And here's something that is absolutely key to understand. Fear is not just a feeling in your head. It's a full-body biochemical state. The second you even think there's a threat, your whole system gets flooded with stress hormones. We're talking adrenaline, cortisol, the whole deal. This is your body's emergency alert system kicking in, getting you ready to fight, run, or freeze.
Okay, and this is the real kicker. Your body has no idea whether there's a real lion chasing you or if you're just sitting at your desk imagining a terrible outcome for a meeting tomorrow. The thought alone, the simple act of selecting that worst-case scenario in your mind, it triggers the exact same chemical flood as a real-life threat. You can literally knock your entire system out of balance by thought alone.
So, if our thoughts can do that, what happens when we trigger this response over and over and over again? Well, this is where things get really fascinating. Our bodies can actually develop a physical addiction to the chemistry of fear itself.
It creates this feedback loop, you see? It all starts with just one thought, maybe about something that happened in the past or something you're worried about in the future. That thought triggers the emotion of fear. Your body then does its job and releases those powerful stress hormones. But over time, your cells get so used to that chemical rush that your body actually starts to crave it. And that craving drives you to unconsciously look for thoughts and situations that will give you that familiar hit of fear.
And this is what it all leads to. This quote really says it all. Through sheer, constant repetition, the body gets conditioned to become the mind emotionally. The fear isn't just a reaction anymore. It's an unconscious program that's just running in the background. And think about what this means. It's kind of a wild concept, right? The body has learned this fear program so deeply that it can have a full-blown panic attack without your conscious permission. You might be sitting there trying to tell yourself to calm down, but your body is already off to the races, running that old, familiar program. It's completely subconscious. Okay, so that sounds pretty bleak, right? But here's the good news. There is a way to break this cycle. There is a way to reclaim control. And it all begins with one single, incredibly powerful tool, awareness. I mean, it's a simple truth, isn't it? You just can't change something if you don't even know it's happening. As long as that fear program is running in the background on autopilot, you're basically its victim. But the very second you become aware of it, the moment you can see the pattern as it's happening, you interrupt the whole cycle, and you start to take your power back. Think about the massive difference here. When you are the fear, you're just reacting. You're trapped on that autopilot loop. But when you can step back and just observe the fear, oh, there's that feeling again. Suddenly, you've created a little bit of space, a gap between the trigger and your response. And in that space, that's where you find choice. That's where you find your freedom. There's actually a cool scientific term for this. It's called metacognition. It literally just means thinking about your thinking. The second you can step back and say, look at that. There's that fearful thought again. Without judging it or getting sucked into its story, you've broken the spell. You're no longer the program. You are the consciousness that is observing the program. And that changes everything. All right, so awareness is step one. It's the key that unlocks the door. But what do we do once we've opened it? How do we actually use that awareness to start rewiring our brains and reconditioning our bodies for something new? Let's get into the how-to. It really boils down to a three-step process. First, like we said, you become aware. You notice the old program without reacting to it. Second, you practice bringing your body back into the present moment. See, fear almost always lives in the past or the future. It really can't survive in the now. And third, and this is the really fun part, you consciously begin to rehearse a new future. Now, this mental rehearsal has a very specific formula, and it's so important to get this right. It's not just about positive thinking. True transformation happens when you combine two things: a clear intention, a really detailed vision of the future you want, and you have to pair it with an elevated emotion, like gratitude or joy or freedom. You have to teach your body what that future feels like before it even happens. And that's the whole game right there. With this practice, you are literally giving your body a taste of the future. You're sending a new signal to your nervous system, reconditioning it to a new mind. And if you do this enough, the body begins to believe that this new, elevated state is the new normal, which makes that old state of fear start to feel, well, foreign. And when you practice this consistently, day after day, you're not just managing your fear anymore. You are fundamentally changing your entire operating system. You begin to shift out of living in survival mode, and you start living in creation mode. And the difference between these two ways of living? It's night and day. Survival mode is all about the past. It's reactive, it's limited, it's always trying to predict the worst-case scenario. But creation mode? That is all about the future. It's intentional, it's expansive. You're building something new from the inside out, no matter what's going on around you. And the payoffs here are huge, and they're very real. We're talking physiological changes. All that energy you were wasting on stress, it gets freed up. Your creativity just explodes. Your gut feelings, your intuition, get so much sharper. You start seeing possibilities and opportunities where you were blind to them before, and you actually start to generate energy instead of having it constantly drained by stress. Which brings us to the ultimate point of all this. This entire journey is about moving from being a victim of your past, a victim of your old programming, to becoming the conscious author of your future. It's about this simple, profound shift. You stop just reacting to life, and you start creating it. So, we'll end with this question for you to think about. If you are not defined by your fear, if you really do have the tools to rewire your own brain and recondition your body, then your past no longer has to equal your future. The only question left is, who are you going to choose to be tomorrow?